What's up, everybody? Welcome to the PlayStation VR show, the show that showcases the best that PlayStation VR has to offer. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the glue, Big Kev Dog. I hate that wave. God, if you're listening to the audio version we put up on patreon.com/kindafunnygames, I swear to God, you say that every week too. Every week you say that. Episode 5, can you believe it?
No.
It feels like we should have done way more.
Yeah.
It feels like we should be way past episode 5.
I feel like we might be 2 episodes behind what we were scheduled to do originally.
Oh, that's true, 100%. Yeah, we've been punting episodes, trying to make it all happen.
But that's because we got to play a lot of games.
Life happens. Yeah, that's the other problem, too, of course. If you didn't know, this is the show that showcases it, what's happening on PlayStation VR. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we are only doing season 2 of the PlayStation VR show because of your support over on patreon.com/kindafunnygames during the month of January. You guys said you wanted more PlayStation VR show. We put it on the thing. Here it is. We're making it happen. Today's an exciting episode because, Kevin, we're not doing 1 game. We're doing 2.
Oh, is that what we ended up deciding?
That's what we decided for the first time ever. Yeah, of course we did.
It's very exciting.
It is very exciting. Yeah. I already said it for housekeeping, though, but just keep you posted again. Remember, these go live each and every week for a little while here on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. If you're one of those people who like listening to us as a podcast, no big deal. You go to patreon.com/kindafunnygames. Get the audio version there for free. You don't have to give us any money, but I hope you do. Kevin?
Greg, I'm really excited because at the end of this, I picked a really good one. At the end, I think I'm going to win.
Oh, it's a competition.
Yeah.
Barrett, you get to be the judge.
All right.
Which PlayStation VR game you think's better?
I'm just based off name. I'm already going with yours.
Thank you very much. We're going to start with you, Big Kev Dog. You went to go play Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown.
Yes, I went home to play Ace Combat. It was great.
As usual, we'll start with the back of the box. Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown is developed and published by Bandai Namco. It was released on January 18th, 2019. The synopsis from Wikipedia reads as this, and stick with me, there are some words in here. Following the events of Ace Combat 04 and Ace Combat 5, the Osean Federation, OSEA, brokered peace between the military power of the Kingdom of Eurysea and the rest of the Yushan continent.
Oh, there's a lot of lore here.
Oh, man. The IUN was formed to maintain peace across the Yushan continent while former President Vincent Harling orders the construction of a space elevator off the Eurasian coast in order to revitalize the continent's economy, known as the International Space Elevator, ISEV. The ISEV is protected by 2 massive ocean airborne aircraft carriers. Yeah, that's what it says. Drones, known as the Arsenal Birds, each carrying a large number of combat drones. Despite Harling's intentions, the ISEV creates resentment among the Eurasians who see it as an ocean intrusion. Currently, as of recording on August 7th, 2019, Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown has a Metacritic. What?
Did this say after the events of Ace Combat 4 and 5?
Yeah, and then we jumped to 7. I don't know either.
All right.
Metacritic of 80. Jamie Feltham over at Upload VR wrote, Ace Combat 7's VR support makes for one of the most convincing, bombastic games you'll see in a headset. It's a powerhouse display of roaring engines and teeth-grinding tension that's never anything less than relentlessly enjoyable. And yet, it's painfully short, over before you can even pinch yourself to see if you're dreaming. But to hell with it. It's left me with a heightened pulse rate, sweaty palms, and the biggest grin VR has yet to put on my face. If I can't praise that, then what's the point? Now, let's start the campaign for more of it. BKD, you went home and played it. Give me the rundown. Why is this, as usual in our user standard rubric, why is this a great PlayStation VR game?
One of the coolest goddamn experiences ever. It's incredible.
So it's all first person, you're in the cockpit?
Yep.
Is it you walking on the ship at all, or is it just
No. Well, so it'll start with the ship's ready to go, and then you just hold down R2 and then you aim up, and it just goes.
Now you're playing with a controller, right? You had asked me before if I thought joysticks worked. I wasn't sure.
No, you were
flight stick.
No, there's no joysticks, you idiot. And then I believe you pushed me.
Okay, that sounds
right.
Right. Thanks, Bear. Thanks for backing me up.
I teared up a little bit. But no, there are joysticks.
But you didn't use a flight stick. You used
I didn't. I just used the controller, and it worked. It worked fine. But I definitely am considering buying the $75 Thrustmaster.
Holy shit, really? It's that good of a game?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's 3 missions, but like
That's what I'm unclear
it
of.
feels so good.
So Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown, it's not the entire campaign that's VR, it's like a VR mode.
yeah.
Okay. Did you last night or when you were playing it this weekend futz around with the regular game, or did you only do the VR stuff?
I only did the VR stuff,
Okay.
which is very interesting because they do not give you any sort of tutorial.
Oh, really?
You just get the plane and it's like, oh, I don't know what any of these buttons do.
Well, that's why you're supposed to play the
Yeah.
campaign and come back
Sure,
later, right?
sure.
Yeah.
But like,
That's
I
not-
just want to play the VR.
That ain't
mode.
the Kevin
Although
Coelho way.
it does make me want to play the actual game.
Yeah.
Just because flying around and shooting down planes.
What a weird
is
thing.
So
I
amazing.
I didn't follow it closely, but I remember this is not this past E3, and I don't even think the E3 before that, but I've played this at an event before, Judges Week.
Yeah.
And I don't remember them talking about it being a mode and not the game or whatever. I think I assumed it
was the whole
wrongly.
game.
Because that would make so much sense, right?
Right?
Like, why wouldn't you do that? Yeah.
I don't
I guess,
know
well,
how
adoption.
complicated it is, but like, God, I hope they do more of it because like it's phenomenal. And there's a lot of replayability in the sense that like, you know, you have 20 minutes to complete the mission and
Are you getting
you
scores
get a score,
and stars?
yeah.
And,
I did really poorly.
sure.
Really
well, you don't know
poorly.
where. How many times
So-
did you accidentally eject?
Oh, you can't. I don't
Hit a
think
button.
you can eject. I wish you could. But there were a bunch of times where I was flying and I'm like, all right, well, whatever. I'll come back around. Oh, the ground. But like when you're in the cockpit, man, it feels the physical sensation you have is shocking.
Yeah.
You know, and I have like a gaming chair from Respawn
Yeah.
that they sent that has a little footrest,
Oh, okay.
and I can like angle it back really far. So I was like at a good angle with my feet like on the footrest,
Where's your PlayStation Eye? Where's your PlayStation camera?
right underneath my TV.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you're not far enough away that it's not seeing you?
No, yeah, it's
Okay.
fine. I also have it angled down a little bit lower than normal.
Gotcha.
And it just like that feels like a flight. Like,
Oh, sure,
you
yeah,
know,
like you're
one of those
strapped in, yeah.
And the overall physical sensation that you get is amazing, and it's so good that like in the final like level you're fighting against these fighter jets that are super fast.
Yeah.
So like they're constantly trying to like get behind you.
Skank,
So you're
skank,
pulling back
skank,
as hard
skank,
as
skank.
possible while and like looking back, and you can see out of
Sure.
your cockpit. And it is one of those things that you forget how far you're looking back, that like the PlayStation Eye is like, oh, I can't see you anymore. And it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
oh god, this is so good.
That's crazy. Yeah. What about, talk to me about motion sickness, because that was one of the things for me at the event I remember doing, where I was like, this is great. And I did like a barrel roll and I was like, oh, this is very real. This feels very real.
So that's the one thing that like if you have motion sickness, I have a feeling it's gonna mess you up.
Do you think does this make it not a great game?
So my experience with it is that I did so there's 3 levels, right?
Uh-huh.
Or 3 missions.
Missions.
Yeah. And they're like, an article I read was like, yeah, if you're an experienced pilot, it'll take you 10 minutes. Took me significantly longer. The first one was like 30 minutes.
Okay.
I believe the second one took me like 2 hours.
Jesus.
I don't know what the hell I was doing wrong. And then the third one probably took me another 30 minutes.
Okay.
But like it was so much fun. But when I was playing the first one, I don't know what was I think I know what was the difference. I had quite a bit of motion sickness and I had to stop because I was like, I don't feel right.
Yeah.
So I took like 30 minutes, maybe like a 30-minute break, and then came back to it. And then afterwards, I run really hot. So when I've got my VR headset, it always fogs up.
Yeah.
So what I actually have to do is I have to have a fan aimed directly at my face.
Yeah.
And that'll keep me from fogging up. And I think that also helped with the motion sickness.
Oh, interesting.
If you can get past the motion sickness, I love this.
Is it? I would assume it's something you get legs for, right? In the same way, when I first started playing VR, I wouldn't be sick, but it'd be like, whoa, I moved too quickly. Whereas now I don't have that at all.
I think another issue is the controller, because it's inverted because you're flying, right? It just feels so awkward at first. Many times, like for the first 15 minutes, I kept going to go like, I wanted to go down, but instead I'd go up by accident, and I think that was making it worse.
Sure.
Also, once you understand, like once you have the flying a little bit more down, it's significantly easier. Like you don't have to like accidentally spin all the way around, right, to orient yourself.
Sure.
If you're at like a slight angle, you understand like, oh, just angle back instead of like I'm already angled right. I'm gonna keep going right. Yeah. And like that lowers it quite a bit. Yeah.
So, is it the idea? I assume is that you struggled with there being so many buttons, not knowing what to do because you hadn't played the game or whatever.
Yeah.
Is it throughout it? I mean, how does it work button wise with a controller? Because I'm thinking of what it's thrust, your rudder.
So, yeah, with R2 you have thrust. With L2 you like it's the
throttle.
Yeah, is it throttle? The one the reverse thrust.
Reverse thrust. That's the thing.
Is this throttle?
No, that's not right. No.
And then L1, R1 are your left and right yaw.
Okay.
So which makes you
sure
like that. And then you've got weapons lock with triangle, I believe. So it's
okay.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
You feel it out once you get going.
And then the left stick is for actually controlling your flight. Yeah. So it takes a minute to like get everything down, but within I'd say 15 minutes I was doing pretty well.
Okay.
Like with the controls and understanding stuff.
And then just 3 missions. So it is a short experience, even if you're struggling.
But I'd say it's very much arcade-like.
Okay.
In the sense that, like, if you're struggling with the controls, you're going to die a lot. You're going to just blow up, fly into the ground.
Start again.
But once you have it down and you're finishing the missions and you're like, oh, I can improve my times. I know I'm going to go here. I'm going to hit, like, you know where enemies are coming from. And everything will flow faster.
Yeah.
And like I want to play it again.
Do you think you will?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
You're gonna buy the $70 flight stick.
I want to buy the flight stick and I want to put it on my the Symtech cockpit that I have.
Yeah.
Because set up that cool. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. That's super cool. And you imagine there's more of these experiences coming. Will they be Ace Combat? Who knows? But I mean, more flight sims and more things to that extent coming.
Yeah.
Do you think, like, where do you come down, I guess, on, you got a code for this one, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you come down on if people should pick it up? Like, right, this is usually the show. We're doing different stuff here. This is usually a different one, but it usually is, why is it a great PlayStation VR game?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it not a great video game? Do you think this is something a VR fan should pick up?
I think that this is one of the coolest experiences if you want it. Like, but I kind of feel like we're a little bit past the, like, I'm getting this
experience.
To show, show people how cool this is.
Yeah.
The other problem is the motion sickness can be like, will ruin it for you. So if you try it and you have severe motion sickness, like, you shouldn't get it. I don't know if there's a demo out there that you can get.
I don't either, actually.
Yeah.
Barrett, you on it?
I'm on it.
I hear the chair move. I know Barrett's making a move over there.
Because if there's a demo, I highly recommend everyone go try this.
Yeah.
And if you can handle it, like, I know it's only 3 missions, which doesn't seem like a lot, but like, I think it's totally worth the money.
Where does it come down in visually wise for you? Is it pretty? Is it not?
So it did something that I thought was really, really interesting with the visuals.
Okay.
Where maybe I hadn't noticed this before, but like they'll do stuff where like you're in the hangar base and they're giving you the mission briefings.
Yeah.
And it's like a projection that's in front of you, but like there's still a background behind you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
it's like a heads up display.
Yeah, right. It's a heads up display, and like when you're flying, there's a little heads up display that you're looking through and more information. But to me, it looked so cool and like really well done. Where I would be focusing on the text and then look back, like look forward and be like, there's a sensation of depth, and it's limited obviously by PlayStation VR's
and the quality of what the headset can do. Yeah.
I'd say it's the quality is. Or the
visuals.
The visuals are strong.
Okay.
Real good stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah. Not seeing any demos.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Barry Courtney.
That's a bummer.
Over on patreon.com/kindafunnygames and Kinda Funny for the record, we put up a, call for input on this. Of course, we want you to be part of the shows. This time we gave you very little notice. We apologize for that. We'll be better about that. But Michael Gulliver did write in and said, Ace Combat was fantastic, but boy, you have to have the stomach for it. Yeah. Had a really great 30 minutes dogfighting, weaving, flying, and generally being British Maverick. Once I finished and took the headset off, being weirdly sweaty, Not weird for me and Kevin. We're sweaty every time we play VR. Slowly leaned over and let out a, oh God. I have a strong stomach for VR, but this really threw me for a loop or two. Not as fun as Wipeout, but enjoyed it nonetheless. Yeah, like I said, that was the things I remember about it were, holy shit, I'm actually in, like I remember looking through the cockpit glasses, I did a roll and be like, I'm actually flying this plane. And then leveling up and be like, oh my God, hold on a second. I need to just fly straight for a second.
It also has a couple different modes. So it's got the missions. It has another mode that is flight show.
Okay.
Where you are on this carrier and you have the team is like, oh, what do you want us to do? And there's like a wheel that you roll through. And I was like, this is dumb. Why would anyone enjoy this? 30 minutes later, I'm still going, what does the Cobra look like? And then I see it and it's like, oh, I was doing things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cool.
That's really cool.
Yes, very wild. You can see from different angles. And it has one more, which is like free play or free time.
Okay.
Where you have 15 minutes with whatever
just to fly and do whatever you want?
Yeah.
Is this in VR as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can choose different, like you unlock stuff like different ships and weapons.
Yeah.
And you can customize the ship and go out there and fly and like shoot stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So there's more than just the 3 missions.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not
but it's like
too much
sandbox
more.
stuff
Yeah,
and
yeah.
looking at stuff.
But again, for whatever reason, I was like, the plane show is gonna be dumb, and then I was out there being like, oh, what does the double Cobra look like?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to hope that somebody who's looking at it, I think Ace Combat 7 obviously took a while to get out. And I think that's one of the reasons probably why you're like, seems late in this life cycle to have an experience, right? We're talking about it, why I think, with the shows, the episodes here of PlayStation VR show, the fact that we move beyond that, and that's why these games are so great right now. And then to get one that is very much like that, I think it's because it's been in development for so long. You would hope that somebody else has been developing a flight sim game that is similar to like Resident Evil, right? Where you can play it, okay, cool, I'm playing it normally, I'm playing it with a controller, or I can go into VR and play the entire thing that way. Because it seems like such a natural fit of like, why wouldn't I play it?
But like, we're not devs. We don't understand how the
100%
transition
correct.
goes.
True. It's 100% correct. I'm sure it's very complicated. We appreciate your work. Brian Lund wrote in and said, loving Ace Combat. Story is good enough, but the flight control is exactly what I expected. Very enjoyable experience. First, unlock the F-14 Tomcat to reenact Top Gun. Haha. Pure joy is how I describe the game for the air combat. Air to ground is fine, not the most exciting, but the plane choice and weapon options are critical to the success of the mission. So it forces you to play in different styles, which is engaging when it clicks, and you feel like a badass. Loving it so far, just over halfway through the campaign now. The stuff you were doing, was it the same thing of sometimes you're fighting ground people, sometimes you're fighting air? Okay.
Yeah. Interesting. So funny you read the back of the box, because like the campaign in the VR mode is very much that stuff where it was like, I don't know what the hell they're talking about, but it sounds so over the top.
The space elevator has set off tensions between many of us.
Also, the ground to air combat, at first I was like, I'm just flying by, but like eventually after a couple hours of playing, like I was flying at an angle, like switching from target to target, shooting, timing it perfectly.
Yeah.
And it's just like once you get it down, like even that was a lot of fun for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So this is a great PlayStation VR experience?
I really liked it.
Okay.
The problems, it's very short. Motion sickness is a thing,
Yeah.
And do you need the controller? I feel like it's going to add a lot.
Well, I want you to come back and talk about it again once you get it.
I'm excited.
All right, cool. You can't expense it.
I can.
No, you can't.
Nah,
the game I went and played for this first ever Dual Shocker episode of the PlayStation VR show was Ghost Giant. Back of the box quote for you here of what this game is, right? Ghost Giant reads like this.
He's crying. She's crying.
Don't even get me started. We're going to get there. That's Louis. It's a he. He is crying. He's a little cat crying. Ghost Giant. Developer Zoink Games. Release date April 16th, 2019. Synopsis. Experience a new puzzle adventure from the studio behind Faye and Flipping Death. In Ghost Giant, you are the protector of the lonely little boy Louis. Invisible to everyone but him, you explore his world and use your size to help him and the citizens of Sanskort. Soundcore, probably. Metacritic of 80 right now, as of August 7th, 2019. Chandler Wood over at PlayStation Lifestyle wrote in his review, for Zoink's first foray into VR space, they've done... the Zoink games get you that much?
It doesn't matter.
For Zoink's first foray into the VR space, they've done an incredible job. Ghost Giant is one of those unique must-play VR experiences that effectively demonstrates just what VR can do with traditional... Just demonstrates just what VR can do that traditional screens can't. It's a game that effectively makes you feel a strong bond and connection with its world and its character. It deftly weaves between humor and deep emotion, elation and sadness. It's not a difficult game, but that's not the point. Ghost Giant wants you to play in this world, but also engage with its heart. It's a beautiful experience that really highlights what not just VR, but games overall are all about. So traditionally, as always, what makes this a great PlayStation VR game, Kevin? For me, it's everything they said there and what I think you can see right here if you're a viewer, right? For starters, the game's gorgeous. The game is beautiful. It has this cardboard world brought to life idea, right? So you can see it already here with the papercraft of the trees, right? Everything is that,
it actually is cardboard, right?
Right,
I can see
exactly. Hey, this is made with cardboard and put together. It's not... I think as blatant as Tearaway, like where they're painting over cardboard, but it is like, oh, this boulder is clearly made of cardboard. This is that. You're in these dioramas. And what I love about the game is that it's beautiful. And I think the more you play into it, the more you get to where you're going with it. What?
Nothing.
That it calls all of its levels scenes, right? And so it'll start every time scene 1, whatever the subtitle is for it. What are you giggling at? Just tell me.
No,
I've been there. Just tell me. Let it out.
I don't like the word diorama. It sounds
Really?
too much like
You don't?
diarrhea.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
You're right, Kev.
Nailed it. You're right.
Thanks, Barrett.
So you go into the different scenes, right? And they start playing out around you. And you have basically, you're the ghost. You're these disembodied set of blue hands, right? Only Louis can see you. You're a giant. You're huge.
Are these move?
Yep, it's a move game. You're using the 2 move ones. Thank you. Good question. You're centered in the middle of whatever diorama is being used, whatever the scene is, right? And then you can do like quarter turns around, usually only, I would say, 180 degrees, right? You don't have the full 360. Yeah. It's got very much set where you're going. And so Louis will interact with you.
I'm sorry,
sure, go ahead, please.
So you're set in the middle, you're not moving anywhere.
Correct.
Okay. But why isn't it... you're not free to move, or
you can turn your head, but
you can only turn it this much.
It's the PlayStation problem of like, if I was to turn all the way to the right, suddenly it doesn't see this. I'm blocking a wand. So rather than do that, it's easier to stay center and then use the buttons to go between the things that way. So you're always facing forward. I think at first when you jump into it, that feels limiting and you're like, why is it happening? Then as it gets going, even the way they're describing it up here, the experience is puzzle adventure, blah, blah, blah. For me, this is definitely shows what VR can do in very specific ways. And what it is it's setting you in a multi-dimensional play. Like, you're an audience member in a play. And like, yes, you interact and change things, but the game does a great job of, I'm centered and Louis runs in and we've got to do something and I need to talk to this guy, right? And so he'll run to the building and then I have to pull a lever to spin the building in place. So I look in the back and the back's removed. And when that happens, sometimes it'll bring up like the platform and move it into my face and black out everything else. Like it's got like a spotlight on it. So it's like, cool, this is clearly a narrative section where I'm paying attention and watching Louis do, and occasionally I can poke things or move things a little bit, but like when it comes back to full blown, I'm in control, everything's lit up, you can pick up things in the world, throw them. You're anything that's like brass or gold, like shiny, like handles, you pull off things, you're finding things, you're giving to Louis, there's different hats to find, something like that. And so from that perspective, beautiful obviously as you're removing all these things. It's very colorful, the detail of the world's great, and then it's this charming experience of being in a play. And one of the things I think so many games fuck up, right, is like, this game is so well acted, and you get going and you're not 100% sure what's going on, and I don't want to spoil everything, but I'm going to spoil certain things about it, right? Of going in there and something's wrong, right? Like, we haven't met Louis' mom. Why haven't we met Louis' mom? And Louis very protective of his mom and trying to take care of everything around the farm. He's a child, he's a kitten. It's one of those games where everybody's a different kind of animal kind of thing. He's got to, he's going to drive the car into town because he has to keep this farm afloat to get more sunflower seeds that I'm helping him do all these different things for. And so you have this... Sorry, go on.
Is he like breaking the law by driving?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Like, he knows he is. He has. Well, I have to find him disguised. I put on a little beard on him and stuff so you can kind of like...
An adult.
Whatever, exactly, right?
Yeah.
But... there's something greater going on than just this puzzle game, right? To the point of, I think who was it? Chandler here. He's talking about it's not a hard game. It's not supposed to be. That's all true. And it is the fact of in the beginning when I started, I've already heard great things about Ghost Giant. So I started it up and it was like, what am I getting into? Oh, I'm anchored here. That's weird. Oh, it's like a play. Okay. Well, this isn't that. Oh, it's like that's a narrative thread I'm interested in. And I found myself doing all the things and wanting to get through them quickly to figure out what was going on in the story and how we were going to do it. And Louis himself is so well acted and so multidimensional in an interesting way, right? Because it is like, cool, the game could just be you're trying to do all this stuff for your mom. And it is, but then it's the why. And then it's also like there's this subplot that he kind of left his best friend out to dry. Like he was going to do a recital with him and didn't. Wait, why? And then like they do all these different things that so many games I think wouldn't do in terms of side stories or narrative, and then also pay off on him. Like when he finally gets to talk to his best friend and starts opening up really about it, his friend's mad at him, right? And his friend does like the turn of like, wait, what's really going on, right? And then that gets interrupted and Louis runs off, and it's, for me playing it, like, holy shit, this game's hitting and going there, right? And that's cool. That was unexpected. And again, I think it's that it gave me the same sensation of sitting in the audience of a good play holding your program. Where it was like, oh, fuck, like, I really want to see this. Like, they're really giving me a good performance here, and it's a very intimate thing, right?
How long was it?
Only like 2.5 hours, right? There are collectibles to go back for. Yeah. There are basketballs to shoot. There are caterpillars to find.
Is there a way to go back easily?
Yeah, you can go scene by scene, not have to worry too much about it, right? And get in there and get it right away. That's all awesome, and that was all great. That's why I think it's a great PlayStation VR game. What I think holds it back from why isn't it a great video game like we always talk about, right? It's one of those rare games I shouldn't say that. It does the biggest flaw of a VR game of reminding me I'm playing a VR game, which means that there's like, if you reach out too far, there's an invisible force field that's like, and it's like, oh, well, fuck. Like, okay. And that then made me not even want to try for some of the other things because, like I said, you find basketballs, right? And then try to shoot them into the hoops that are hidden around the thing. And there's one in every level. Try to get the trophy for it. And so I'm like, okay, cool. The first one drained it after a few shots, no big deal. But it's that usual thing of like, when do you release? You got to learn it. Like kind of how we were in Blood and Truth, right?
I was gonna say Blood and Truth so hard,
right? And that was one, not 12 or whatever the hell it is in this game. And so later on, then though, like I don't even the second or third one where it's like, oh, here's the ball. Where's the hoop? Oh, it's way the fuck over there. And so then it's like, all right, cool. I'm going to lean in like Bozo Buckets, and I would go, and then I go through the thing, and like
Bozo Buckets.
You don't remember the Bozo show? Too young for that?
Way too young for the
cool.
Bozo show.
My apologies. It was a big thing in Chicago. It was nationwide. WGN doesn't matter. Go through it, and like then you like once you cross the line, like you lose your normal momentum. So it's like, oh fuck, I got to sit all the way back here and do it, and not get out of the thing. Yeah. Which okay, it's a collectible. Trophies can be tough. And it's also, maybe I'm underthinking it for what I was trying to do because I wanted a story. I didn't want to fuck around with it. Maybe it is I need to stand up, move around closer. But again, I have such a limited radius, it feels. Then I got to, in the graveyard level, right? These are light spoilers, but not really, right? There's a girl who wants a photo of a ghost, right? And she won't let Louis pass until something distracts her. Over there, Nothing. I have this thing that's like crane that's now been retrofitted to be like a giant fishing hook that I'm using, right? Because I'm a giant. And there's this car that's stuck over there. I go over there. I pull the back off this truck. There's a ghost costume hanging up in there. Cool. It's on a gold hook. Clearly, I need to get it with this thing. And so I'm going, and the magnet isn't getting anywhere. Like it's on a overpass, and I'm just hitting like in front of the overpass, and I'm like, I start going too far, and it's like, and I'm getting that stupid thing. I'm like, all right, fine, put it down. Maybe I'm doing, and like. For 5 or 7, 10 minutes, I'm doing everything else in the world. Like I can't, it's that thing. Am I overthinking it or am I underthinking it? Is it the game fighting me or is it my own? Once you ever do that in a game where you're like, this is how you do it. And then that's not how you do it. But now you're hung up and you can't think of anything. I go and fuck around in a whole bunch of stuff before finally I'm like, I think it might just be the game and the stupid invisible wall that's fucking me. And so I went and watched a Let's Play. And sure enough, you have to like reach through and the thing's vibrating. I'm like, and I'm like, oh fuck. And so I did it, and I got it eventually, but I'm just like, why have the wall if I'm going through the wall? Like that made me feel stupid. Like why even have that thing? Wrong. Not to mention that it changes the way everything, like I was talking about the basketball goes or the physics of it. And so I was like, that sucks. And then I also had a technical problem, which of course with this, we're never sure if it's
our setup.
Our setup is a loose wire or whatever. But for me, every so often, audio would just completely cut out. And it's directional audio. Like if you're close to something, you'll hear somebody like whispering or well or whatever. But this was specifically like dead silence. Like it would pop up, and I disconnected and reconnected, and then I started playing it off the TV speaker or the sound bar, and I still was getting it. So I'm not sure where the breakdown was.
It's weird.
Yeah, but it didn't when I stopped and went to dinner. When I came back, I don't think I had any other things out of it, so I don't know what it was. That's a personal thing. I don't think you have to worry about that or ding it for it. But for me, it was the thing of, it still is little VR problems, like just little annoyances, right? There's another one with a paintbrush where it was like, cool, I got the paintbrush, I gotta get there's different things around the village that I'm using to put on this giant paintbrush, and then going to the thing, and it was like running my hand into it, and like it wasn't going one for one. So it's like, am I doing this right? And I'm like, I feel like I'm having to do this a really long time. Am I doing it? And then finally it would start working, and it was just like little annoyances like that hold it back. And that's my thing, is I don't even think I would personally call it, and I know the showcases the best of PlayStation VR. I'm torn on this one. I thought the narrative and the story and the acting were all phenomenal in this, but the gameplay itself, I have more like, this I didn't like as much.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, and so it's like this weird thing of, I wouldn't blanket recommend Ghost Giant. I think it's really cool, and I think it does a lot of great stuff. And if you're in it for the play atmosphere, then sure, or you know what I mean, the theater atmosphere, then that's great. But like the actual gameplay parts of it weren't bad, and lots of times they're great. There's one adorable scene, right, where we get the sunflowers and we go back to the farm, and we spread them all over, and then we need to water them, obviously, right? So I take 2 clouds out of the sky and I smash them together and make a thundercloud, right? And I go around and I'm doing it, and Louis flipping out. He's like, yeah, and he's running in the water, and it's awesome, great. And then he's like, we do all the water. He's like, hey, could I ride a cloud? And you bring the cloud down, and he gets on it, and you trace it around, and it's making a rainbow, and it's like, this is so fucking cool. Like, this is an amazing experience I'm sharing with this weird cat. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, I love this, and it's making me love Louis, and it's making is a moment of celebration in this very dark game we're playing of depression, right? And so those things stand out, and I'll remember. But then I'm really gonna remember the fucking, why couldn't this thing work over there, and why was the audio cutting out, and why am I doing the basketball thing wrong? Is it on me? Like, there's little things like that.
Basketball games are always so.
Why do it?
They're so slightly off.
Yeah, people.
Because it's fun for the ones. You know what they need to do is make the hoop just real big.
Yeah, sure.
You know, make it really easy.
Yeah, that'd be helpful. Yeah. Let's Ghost Giant. I like it. Yeah. Just don't love it. You know what I mean?
I'm tempted to play it.
You should. I don't want to turn anybody off to it. Yeah. I think the 80 on Metacritic right now, I was like, that sounds about right. You know what I mean? Or
like the controls not, or it having issues with the mechanics overall. Right. It's good that it's able to hold that.
Yeah, 100%. I think that speaks to how special it is on so many other levels, right? If you were to look at it on like a scorecard, I think that's what you're seeing, like narrative, performance, art, graphics, like all that's great. You know what I mean? And it is one of those that I have half a mind. If I'm screwing something up with the basketball game, I have half a mind to go back and platinum it. If it turns out no, you just got to try to sit there and drain it from your little weird blue circle you're trapped in. Like, fuck that. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that at all. That's not fun. So we'll see what happens. But that's Ghost Giant and Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown. Barrett, you got anything to say?
I was just going to, tell you guys who won today.
Oh, yeah, who won? Oh, I forgot. Well, this is a competition.
Yeah.
For 2 games we didn't make.
I'm worried that he's got crazy motion sickness and you're going to get more points for it.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because I feel
you just let him talk?
Kevin won today.
Yeah,
not based on either of the games based on either of the games you talked about in this episode, because Kevin told Chloe to play Beat Saber before this episode, so Kevin wins.
It's fair. That's understandable. Yeah. You're a just God, and I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, who do you think won this episode of the PlayStation VR show that's now a competition for 2 games? We're like, they were all right, and we liked them, and they're cool.
I love Ace Combat.
Okay, then I think Kevin won too. Let us know in the comments below, though, what you think. Am I just stupid about Ghost Giant? Let me know. Is Kevin just stupid about flying a plane? Let him know.
I'm not good at it.
Here's an interesting one. We usually tell you what we're playing next week. Next week for me, for this show, the PlayStation VR show, isn't locked in. It might be something special. And so I'm not prepared to say that publicly on camera. But I can tell you. And also, since we're editing this way later, future it could tell you.
Wait.
So future Greg, what?
Okay, nothing.
Future Greg. What's the game for next week? Oh, that's a good pick.
Wow.
That's a good pick, Future
Can you believe
Greg.
it?
I can't either.
I'm very excited.
I can't believe The Last of Us Part 2 is VR only.
Who thought about it? You know what I mean? playing from the perspective of a clicker. Ladies and gentlemen, that's PlayStation VR show. Thank you so much for your support. Remember, you can go over to patreon.com/kindafunnygames. Support us there. Be part of these shows before we make them. Not by the time you see them on YouTube. Boatsman Pat missed on that one. However, there's other shows we're making for game stuff. You can go over there to
Are they as good?
No, of course not. Kevin's not on enough of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They might be better. I don't know. Watch Screencast Friday, 7.
All right, that's enough of that. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.